Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webisode of All Politics Are Local. I'm WSAV.com now reporter John Dowding. Every week, we're taking the time to break down some of those big headlines coming from Washington, D.C. to understand how they're impacting us right here in the Coastal Empire and Low Country. As always, we're joined with our WSAV Washington correspondent, Kellie Meyer. Hey, Kellie, how are you doing today on this Monday morning?
I'm doing well. Thanks, John, for having me, as always.
No, thank you so much for helping us talk through all of this. I mean, it's funny because last week, I think I texted you, we had our show on Monday, and then I think I may have texted you Tuesday, and I was like, we're going to have a lot to talk about this week because so much has happened within the last week. I mean, the biggest headline is probably the HEROES Act, which was passed in the House, which is that next set of relief that's would potentially roll through for people to be able to take advantage of. Obviously, it passed the House overwhelmingly. However, they're saying it's expected to die in the Senate. Kellie, take us through, talk to us a little bit about this act, what it looks like, and what. Let's just find out more about it.
Well, the biggest thing was, like you mentioned, you texted me on Tuesday, and that's actually the day we heard from Dr. Fauci in the Senate hearing, but that's also the day that Speaker Nancy Pelosi introduced this HEROES Act, and then they voted on it Friday. So a big thing for Republicans in the House was saying that they didn't have a chance to read through it. It's a $3 trillion package that is the biggest amount, largest amount of money they've ever put through in Congress. Democrats saying that they want to honor our heroes, why they're calling it the HEROES Act, by providing nearly $1 trillion to state, local, territorial, and tribal governments. It also includes a new round of direct payments to Americans. Republicans and the White House, however, are calling it a wish list. What you mentioned there, you were saying it's expected to die in the Senate. I talked with Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio last week, just ahead of the vote. He said there will be future legislation, but it's not going to be what happened in the House. Take a listen to what he had to say.
This was just written by the Democrats. They don't intend to pass this bill in the Senate. They intend to get something out and sort of as a messaging exercise.
And we also talked with Georgia Congressman Buddy Carter. He weighed in. He was a big no on this bill on Friday. It took a while to go through. They social distanced on the floor as the votes went into the evening, you might have seen. But let's also listen to what he had to say about why he was a no on this bill.
A bill that was done in a partisan fashion is nothing more than the Speaker trying to get all the Democratic initiatives out there. It's dead on arrival in the Senate.
So what we're looking at this week, the House isn't going to be back until after Memorial Day. The Senate is still here. They may still be working on their own legislation, like you heard Marco Rubio saying there, but it will not, again, be this HEROES Act. Republicans in the White House, again, saying that is just a wish list.
So what have senators been saying they want to amend to this act for them to be able to pass it? Because, I mean, regardless, at every point in this pandemic, people are needing relief right now more than ever. So how are senators hoping to try to make amends to this act to be able to actually get it passed by the Senate and have the president's signature on this?
I think the biggest thing you're seeing with this and with what Republicans are saying in Congress here, both in the House and the Senate, is just that they want to see what they've put through already take effect. That's the biggest thing you're seeing from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying, give it some time. And Florida Senator Marco Rubio said the same thing. Let's give it a second to let all that money that we put through already to go into effect in these communities, see how it stabilizes them, see how it stimulates them, and then let's go back in and pass another. Because they are saying we can't just keep putting more and more bills out there with all of this money until we know it's actually working. So they're more of a, let's take our time and see how it goes, and Democrats are saying we need to do something now.
So speaking of the Senate, let's kind of switch gears a little bit. I know the Senate's been in the Capitol for a little bit longer than the House, and we were talking before we started about kind of what the Senate's been up to this whole time. It's mainly just been judge confirmations, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I think what the main reason we were seeing why Leader McConnell brought the Senate back was to get on his task of confirming those judges. We also saw that there was that National Director of Intelligence hearing in the Intel Committee, which we are looking at maybe seeing a vote on that this week, which is interesting because that ties into, as we saw with that late breaking news last week with the Intel chairman stepping aside as he had the FBI come to his house late Wednesday night and obtain his cell phone as he's under investigation for insider trading. So he has stepped down as of the end of day Friday. So now as that moves into a vote, he will no longer be the chairman. So there's been a switch up there. Also something that Georgia Senator Kellie Loeffler has been under scrutiny for. She put out 2 different statements on this last week, saying that allegations of improper trading were completely false. She says that she has followed both the letter and spirit of the law. Then later that night that said they confirmed, because we were asking if did they serve a warrant to Loeffler. We weren't exactly given a certain specific answer on that, but she did say she forwarded documents and information to DOJ, SEC, and Senate Ethics Committee on her work there. So we're following up on that story as well.
Yeah, because she's been definitely very vocal about her innocence with this, saying, that she had no control over this. She didn't make those decisions after the meeting. But, like you said last week, and you were there in Washington, I was watching all your tweets, you were really hearing from Senator Burr as this whole thing sort of developed and he announced resignation from Senate Intel. So, definitely some kind of sidetracking from the whole coronavirus issue is these potential allegations of insider trading.
Absolutely. And it's such a, I think for Loeffler, I think you can visibly see, and from me reporting on this up here, how it's just getting in the way of her reelection. She wants to just pass by this, and it just keeps coming back to haunt her.
And that's a good point too, because, Georgia, both our senators here are up for reelection. And, we've been seeing a lot more campaign. We've been seeing campaign videos from Kellie Loeffler since I would honestly say January 1st. The ball dropped and then boom, one of those videos popped up on TV. But we're now also seeing some campaign ads from their rivals. I'm seeing ads right now on TV from Jon Ossoff popping up. So we're going to definitely start seeing those as we get closer and closer to the election. And this could definitely hurt her chances. But before we go, really quickly, really big, monumental, historic motion was passed last week by the House. And it's for them to remotely vote. So let's touch up, just really briefly talk this over. Obviously, this is in response to the coronavirus pandemic. Kellie, what's this look like for some of our Congress people while they're home quarantined? They're still able to kind of work from home.
Yeah, it's basically, like you said, allowing these lawmakers to work from home. The new rules allow any member to vote remotely by giving precise binding instructions, is what they say, to a proxy, basically letting another member vote on their behalf who is able to be present on the floor. So there's some members, I've heard some lawmakers are staying local here in DC. Maybe their families have come out here. If they're California members, they're just staying here locally in case they have to be nearby. So they might come in on behalf of another member, vote for them, so they don't have to be there. It lessens the amount of people on the floor voting, continues with our social distancing rules, doesn't allow more members to be in the Capitol. They just said the Capitol complex is closed at least until June 8th. That is when our DC stay-at-home order expires for now. So that Capitol complex is still closed. So they are trying to be as careful as possible with how many members they have in there. But like you said, a very historic moment there.
Definitely. So, that's all the time we're going to have for this week. We covered a lot. I want to say we covered a lot in a short period of time. Before we go, I was asking you, what's top 2 things you're looking at and watching ahead for this week?
Gosh, I think the biggest thing, keeping an eye on this bill and the reaction. We're going to keep hearing from members of the House. We're going to keep hearing Democrats pushing for this, and Republicans, we're going to see maybe some other things that they come up with that they will work into this to show that they're responding to the coronavirus pandemic in some way, but also while still waiting. And I think keep an eye out for that Director of National Intelligence confirmation. That could happen this week. And of course, the president has a busy schedule as well this week, so keep an eye on that too.
Well, he's got a busy schedule, and we both do this week too. Thank you so much, Kellie, as always, for joining us and helping us break down all this stuff going on in Washington.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And you can see more of Kellie's stories on our website. Just go to wsav.com/Washington. You can watch more episodes and previous episodes of All Politics Are Local on our website right now as well. Just go to wsav.com/allpoliticsarelocal. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm John Dowding. Thank you so much for watching this episode of All Politics Are Local.